This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
It's the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast.
We're old school, right? We wash our own dirty laundry.
The name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
I refuse to be judged by a grown man wearing a hockey jersey.
Game on! Game on!
We are back with another episode of the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast, episode 72. Wade Hampton, Paul Rank, and some guy that's not been around for,
oh my gosh,
who knows how long. Justin is back in the house, or back in the Jersey room.
It's good to have my collection back up, and it's even better to see everyone back.
So welcome. You were definitely missed, and of course we've stayed in touch, and you've been a busy man with work and moving and all that stuff, so we get it. Just always have to give you a hard time about it. Want to, as always, mention our sponsor, especially with Christmas time just around the corner. Get those shipping dates in for the Drink Your Face Off line of clothing and accessories. When you're tired of your family and you need to open a beer, hey, reach for one of Mitch's Drink Your Face Off pucks. So reach out to him if you want any of that. And I know the dates are coming up tight to get stuff shipped before Christmas, but definitely reach out to him. Tonight's drink, definitely a good one. Just cracked the bottle tonight for this. Justin, I think will appreciate it. Little Eagle Rare 10 year.
That sounds delicious.
Very nice. Now, I will have to say, and we can predict this, Mitch's first comment when he posts this will be a nice teal comment about the jerseys behind Justin.
Well, Mitch 100% sold me like 2 or 3 of them in the last few months. So, I mean, I'm expecting a teal observation.
Or he'll ask next time that you center them more in the picture, so there's more of that and less of the Jets and the some of the other stuff. As you're rearranging the camera just to do that. See, we know Mitch so well, we already know what he's gonna say.
And spread the teal out a little bit more in there so they're not so bunched up, and then I think Mitch will be happy.
Yeah,
well, as happy as Mitch can be. But.
Or you pull out a few and then hang them like both Wade and I have there, so you can see. So then it blocks out everything else, and then we know Mitch will be 100% behind you at that point.
Well, and then the line of Binghamton just goes for miles. So,
Yeah. I don't blame you there. So you had mentioned before we started that you threw on a beautiful Christmas jersey, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's 'tis the season, and I think in the spirit of we are sometimes so competitive in the hobby, and last year I was unable to get down to the Minnesota Whitecaps, the PHF, their annual Christmas auction, and I had a friend down there who was able to bid on my behalf. He got it for me, didn't mind spending a few $100 out of his pocket. So I'm wearing it, it's the season, but my friend is also going through a very tough cancer battle, and I've been thinking about him, and so it's always humbling when you can get help from anyone in the hobby, and then to know one of your friends is going through a hard fight. So I'm definitely keeping him in my thoughts and my prayers. So
and from all of us as well, and good luck with that. But no, and that's, to touch on this real quick, and yes, Christmas is around the corner, and we think about this more, but it happens all year round. Is people send me links, hey, I saw this, or somebody reaches out, I know somebody's looking for stuff. We all do it because it may not be the thing that we are after, or we have as many as we need of that player, whatever it is. So we all try and help it out, but then it comes back to us later of, hey, I picked this up for you because I knew you'd want it and I had to grab it right now, or whatever it is. And I hope this completely continues into 2025. And I know we'll do some kind of a wrap show at the end of the year. Maybe have a few other people on as well, but no, you're spot on with that, Justin. So different things to touch on. Wade, we'll start with you with the funny story that people that may not have seen it online.
Oh yeah, we were talking about Christmas jerseys now. With so the Springfield Thunderbirds do a teddy bear toss, and it's a jersey I really like. So I was kind of excited, and the jerseys were on Dash because the game was supposed to be last night, which was Saturday night. We're taping this on a Sunday, and so all of a sudden on their Facebook page and on their web, they start putting posts that said they're delaying the use of the jerseys because portion of them got shipped to Germany rather than the United States. So the part of the jerseys were missing, so they couldn't wear them. So they still did the teddy bear toss, which is great, which means there's going to be some, toys for kids that get out there. But it was just kind of funny that they did not wear the jerseys. They actually ended up wearing the other throwback jersey, the Indians jersey that they've been wearing, which I love. And I guess they're gonna extend the bidding for another 25 days on the teddy bear toss jerseys on Dash. So I'm glad they still got the teddy bears out. I found it pretty interesting and humorous how that went down. But
well, and especially with that is if anybody wants to go see it, go out to their social media. Is they put pictures of Germany and then just put pictures of their jersey, like visiting different landmarks in Germany. Yeah. I just want to know how the hell that happened. I mean, oops, yeah. It went to the wrong Springfield or something. It ended up in Springfield, Illinois. Oh, yeah. Okay. Somebody mistyped something. How the hell does it get rerouted to Germany?
Springfield, Germany is a little bit far off. Right. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Obviously, I think everybody knows that I do collect, the Blues AHL affiliate, and I've really fallen in love over the last couple of years with a lot of the Springfield stuff, which in turn has grown more of my AHL stuff. So that's been fun. It's been a fun adventure to kind of deviate from some of my Blues stuff. So,
and still be able to follow the same guys.
To be clear, they are planning on wearing these jerseys when they get them, right?
Yeah, they are going to wear them at the end of the month. Yeah, okay. So they're still going to get worn, which I think is great.
They say, I think 26, 27, something like that, maybe.
Or yeah, something like that. I think they're going to wear them 2 games now. So that's actually, gives them a little bit more time to get some seasoning on them.
I'm assuming the jerseys are going to be held up in customs coming back from Germany.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works. I mean, I'm hopeful that they get them out and they wear them.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And speaking of AHL things, you have a little Cuda story.
Oh yeah, it's been a fun couple days with the Cuda. So you guys recorded the show Thursday night without me, and no, I was.
While you were playing goal for San Jose.
Yes, no, I was not the e-bug for the Sharks. I was not on the road trip with the Sharks. I refused to wear a Fanatics jersey, so that kind of killed any deal we were discussing. Could also be skill level, age, bad knees, who knows? But I'm going with just the Fanatics jersey story. But so Thursday night was actually really cool. The Barracuda, for season ticket holders, do a skate with the team, and they open up Texas U for 2 hours to ice, and they rotate players in groups of 6 out on the ice for half an hour, and then signing for half an hour. So over the course of the 2 hours, you get every player out on the ice for half an hour and every player signing autographs for half an hour. And since it's just season ticket holders, it's not a huge crowd. So, I mean, that was great. The ice at TechCU was better than I remembered it last year. It got a lot, helped a friend get a bunch of ornaments signed. That she had missed the first group, so I'm skating around trying to catch up players before they're out there for, to take off. And it's just a really well done and run event and just a lot of fun. And Thursday was a great evening. And sorry I couldn't be here, but I wouldn't miss the skate.
Hey, totally get it.
Yes. No,
and
so
the
that
jerseys they had were beautiful, and did they wear those yesterday? Is that right?
So they on Thursday. I'll get to about yesterday. We asked some of the players about bidding on the jerseys just because sometimes we make sure the players' family's not bidding on them, so we'll step away.
Always a great move. I love that.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't make sense to run up, a family member or a friend or anyone like that, and so we always talk what we're bidding on, but so the players didn't know what the jerseys look like, and we didn't know. We suspected what they were the next day because they posted a video of Frenzy in them, and it turned out to be the one that had an angry teddy bear on it, chomping a stick, kind of like the Sharks logo a little bit, and then cute little teddy bears on the bottom. And so the teddy bear game was yesterday, last night, and fortunately the Cuda won 1-0. I remember some of these teddy bear toss games where the whole home team does not score. and that doesn't go over well. Uh, one of them was Michigan State, so I didn't feel bad about that at all. Um, and then we had after the game, they did wear the cool jerseys on Saturday. They do a live auction for them. So you have to be there to bet on them. And the jerseys went from, I forget the low, I think it was like 700, 750 up to 2250. And they were nice jerseys. Monica and I came home with two of them. Everyone can guess one of them, which was Bordello, and then Robbins was the other one we picked up. But it was just it's a great event. The teddy bear toss, lots of teddy bears out there. Oh, what I did find interesting during the game, the only goal, came with about 2-3 minutes left in the first period. So as soon as the teddy bear started hitting the ice, Coachella Valley just went to the locker room. They took off. The Cuda stayed out there to help, take all the teddy bears out, which probably took 10 minutes or so. And then they just called the break. And they zambonied the ice and came back, played the end of the first period, finished that, switched ends, played the second period. Which, I don't recall that from past teddy bear toss games. Maybe, that the goal came earlier in the period or something. But I thought it was a pretty smart move and worked out well. And
I was just going to ask that question. Is I wonder if it is just, does it just dictate when that goal comes, that if it's that close to the end, we know it's going to take time. We'll just pick this up after.
That's what I'm guessing, but it's the first time I've seen that. It, like I said, worked out well. Great auction. I can't remember. I thought it was. I can't recall the charity it was supposed to be going to last night, but so my apologies on that. But it was fun, and there was a Cuda game this afternoon, which should have been ending about half hour ago, and we decided to pass on that to catch up on things at home. So,
and we thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. and so that's my AHL weekend.
But you also did some other. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Justin.
Oh, that's a good weekend.
Yes, it is.
And you and Mitch had some other fun recently too, didn't you?
Oh, that's right. Thank you. That's other part of our
stories.
Yes, it's Saturday. John Nakasone set up us at a toy show in San Jose. I don't know, 100 dealers or so. The place was huge and just packed with all sorts of cool toys, science fiction stuff. Few people with records. Good amount of comics, and 3 people with sports stuff. So Mitch and I, well, Justin Glines went with us too, and he set up. He has a lot of toy stuff, so he was selling that, and he had a lot of good sales. Mitch and I set up our hockey crap. So we had a table of bobbleheads, the Hawaiian shirts that we have from the Sharks, other shirts, and a rack of jerseys. And it was really interesting. Well, we ran into a bunch of collectors we actually know from the Shark, the game worn collecting hobby, and from the Sharks games. And a lot of the people who were into toys and stuff were interested in what we have. I mean, the bobbleheads were cheap; they were only $5, so they were shocked, and those were going quickly, and they were fascinated about the idea of. They didn't understand that the more expensive Sharks jerseys and stuff were game worn, and they had no idea that stuff was available, and it was fun, So we got to meet a lot of people. Awfully early on Saturday, got there, about 7:30, raced home from that, then raced to the Barracuda auction. So
you had
that explains why I'm exhausted today.
But I guess so. You got the opportunity to open eyes of people that maybe didn't know this hobby existed, or if they did, maybe didn't know what cost was involved.
Exactly. A lot, like, some people had no idea this stuff's available. I ran into one couple whose grandson plays for the Junior Kings there. And, they didn't really realize, the stuff was available. And they ended up, he's a goalie. I think he's 6 or 7. So he bought one of the $50 training camp jerseys that we have. Awesome. Goalie cut. I mean, his probably will go and hit the floor on their grandson, but it's his Christmas gift. So they did their Christmas shopping there and for him, and they had showing up there. They had no idea that stuff was going to be there. The organizers of the show posted some of our stuff on Instagram, which was really cool because there was no mention of sports stuff at all in any of the advertising. It's a different type of venue, different type of crowd, but it was a lot of fun, and it was great getting out there. And all four of us had a great time, and we'll definitely want to do it again. And a huge thanks for John Nakasone for inviting us and setting it up. And we just enjoyed. It was fun.
And yeah, I mean, it's thinking outside the box for sure. Because you go into something like that, it's like, okay, are we even going to sell anything? I mean, yeah, you can consider bobbleheads toys, but if you have a lot of people's mindset of I'm looking for comic books and action figures and stuff like that, that may be out of their realm. But it sounds like it was very successful and a little eye opening.
Yeah, and fun. It's and on the reverse side, I ended up buying some stuff, which I was shocked to see there, which to add to my other types of collections. So,
It makes it fun though, because
oh yeah,
you're we a lot of us seem to collect other things than just hockey jerseys and that, and if you can grab some of the things from something else, and especially when you've sold things to balance that cost out, there you go.
exactly. So it's like I said, we will be doing it again. It's we were able to get the word out to some additional people about our February 1st expo. We'll discuss expos more on the next show. I don't have the updated list, but so not rather than working on people to get tables there, we're just spreading the word to get more people who plan on showing up on February 1st, which
Very
would be
nice.
really nice. Get a bigger crowd of people looking at the stuff, and uh, all in all, well, it's been a great weekend. Oh,
Good.
and the other thing to add about the Thursday night skate,
Yeah.
I was exhausted from skating, for 2 hours. Monica was exhausted from stressing watching the Lions game, the Lions Packers game. So we did get a win in that, it's barely. So it's
Good for you.
yeah. Totally off topic now,
No,
but
but and even seeing some of how the games went today across the board was interesting to see. So
oh
I
yeah,
know I reached out to you earlier asking if you were headed to Tampa for New Year's to watch Michigan, and you're going to enjoy that on TV. I will also enjoy from TV the Illini playing in Orlando on New Year's Eve. So all convenient.
see, we're already ready for the game.
Wow.
And what was funny is there was some talk that Illinois might have ended up with Alabama, and we ended up with South Carolina instead. So yeah, you got the button. It works out better than having to get another one that's to South Carolina. So so good
Yeah.
on that. Our gentleman who's been busy with a lot of things while actually has a great topic to cover. You had to move a lot of jerseys.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a challenge. And my move began right around the Winnipeg Expo. So I had probably, I don't know, 30 jerseys already packed. And there were a lot of the jerseys that I enjoyed displaying, and they were some of my favorites. But right as that weekend hit, I was beginning to pack for a move out of my house. And so for anyone who's gone through it, it is not fun. And I was a little worried, given that I had a large number of my jerseys in these totes, these bins for in some cases like 3 months, and I was a little worried about maybe some of the smell kind of leaching onto the jerseys, and none of that. There were some really good tips in the hobby about making sure that there are things you can do to make sure that these bins are aired out. So I learned a lot along the way. I did not like being separated from all my collection for in some cases 3 months, but yeah, my house is still a wreck, so to speak, but at least I am in my walk-in closets with my jerseys, and it is nice to be home, even if I am in a place that does not look at all like home. So if you've been through a move with your jerseys, you know how frustrating and challenging it could be. So
And I actually want to have on it, and you just now talking about this sparked it. I'm gonna reach out to a collector. I won't give his name right now, but in Florida when the hurricane came through, he had back-to-back hurricanes. Rode out the first one, second one coming through much worse, and saw the pictures of him packing up all his stuff and evacuating the area. And it wasn't a small packing job. So you having some time to do it and a little bit of planning where you have a few days to decide am I staying or going and getting the hell out. So I may after the first year try and get him on. He's a longtime collector, but no, it's a talk to have, and I may have you even kind of reiterate again at that point, Justin, is do a comparison to a slow pack compared to an emergency one.
Well, and remember a few years ago there was those horrible, well, they're still going, but the Alberta fires. That there was
Yes.
one there in Alberta that had to make some really difficult decisions. And I know it went smoothly. I did keep a large number of them in a bin in my garage, and there's part of me you just want to check on them, make sure like nothing's gotten in there. And I put for the ones that I had out for the longest, I did have dryer sheets in the bins to sort of get that plastic smell out, and I layered all the bins with blankets on the bottom, so just in case there was anything that might have gotten in there, there was a little bit of protection. I hope I don't have to do this again for a long time. So and I was thankful that I didn't have to give up any part of my collection as part of the transition out of the house that I was living in. So I think I got through that. Read into that what you want. I got through it unscathed, and I'm just glad it's done. And it's nice to be able to be like, oh, I can actually have a space for these things.
And the other big question is when you got all the stuff to your new place, was the first thing you did walk into that closet and start unpacking jerseys and basically forget the rest of the place?
No, actually, I was good about it. I waited until a couple new jerseys that arrived already that I purchased. And I will say the first things that I did unpack, and I let out this very joyous sigh. It was the pile of Penn State jerseys. Those were the first to go up, and I waited a couple weeks. I admit life got in the way, so it took me a couple weeks to unpack. But when I was on getting ready for Patspo in August, I had no idea. Like things just kind of quickly changed in August, and I had no idea. I had purchased a handful of really nice Jets jerseys that I had actually forgotten which players they were because they were in these bins since August. So it's nice to air them out. It's nice to sort of look at them again. I'm a little disappointed in myself realizing just how many fucking baseball jerseys I've accumulated over the last 18 months. But it's just good to get them out. And it's it's I don't know if anyone else gets hung up on it. But we all use different washing detergents, right? And so it's just good to sort of air them out and to sort of get them just out and not packed.
Yep. Now that I know you love baseball jerseys so much, I'll send you links to our local team, the Lucky Horseshoes, so you can pick up some of their jerseys and add it to your collection. So I'm glad things went well and you're finally settled, but no, that's a topic at some point I do want to expand on and have you and reach out to the other guest too and kind of discuss more and in depth on some things to think about planning for if there's going to be long-term storage, things like that.
And there's a huge issue, and I haven't had to do it in 9 years, but when you move cross country, there's that question of like, do you send your jerseys with the rest of the stuff if you're using like a trucking company? And there's the occasional horror story in the hobby of like stuff being misplaced. I know that it's just tough to get them all organized. It's tough to get them squared away. You're just hoping that nothing like it's either left behind. So yeah, there's just a lot of stressors that go into moving. And then I still don't know where most of my pots and pans are, but at least I have teal. I've got my teal, and that's all that matters.
Yes. So again, congratulations on that getting settled, and then you even start moving stuff around. Like, when the hell did I get this jersey? Or you forget you had one. Makes it even more fun because it's new all over again. So, Paul, you wanted to talk on another topic too, as far as kind of with classic just closing and other stuff, and we just see always see questions about, well, how does this auction work? Because how does that auction close? Whatever. You kind of want to talk about auction procedures a little bit.
Yeah, more about like the auction closing. Every time Classic's over, you always have one person, well, more than one person complaining. I was, leading in the end, and then, I lost an extended bidding, or people complaining about extended bidding. And, one thing I wanted to get to on this, there are a lot of ways, different ways auctions do the closing procedures. And I know I have my preference on what I like on it. And I know others do too. Some people hate extended bidding. I actually love it because you go to the eBay model, and it's just total sniping at the end. And it works well if you throw in a high snipe, unless someone else also throws in a high sniping bid. And it doesn't, as a seller, it doesn't make sense to just end things right away. The Sharks auctions, how they do that, they don't even have reserve bidding. And, if you bid in the final seconds, that's your bid. And, if it's at $200, you bid 500, it doesn't go to 220 or 250, it goes to 500. And that's, if you happen to win, that's what you're paying. Classic, to me, does it the best way. They, especially with the recent changes they've done in the last couple of years. It used to be when you did a extended bid, all the lots stayed open. Now it's lot by lot, and if a bid comes in during extended bidding is half hour per jersey, and if a bid comes in during that time, it extends the timer another 30 minutes. Which is great. Compare it to NHL auctions, where if a bid comes in at the end, I think it extends it 5 minutes, and that keeps going. But what I really like then about Classic is the bid increment is 10%. So if you're at a $5,000 jersey, that's the last bid, your next bid has to be 5,500. And you really start thinking about it when you have to jump that much. So things tend to close a lot faster. Whereas NHL auctions, if the bid's at 5,000, I believe the increment is still $20. So you can keep dragging it out 5 minutes, and you don't have to have the high bid. If someone has a $6,000 reserve bid, every $20 you add in there resets the timer to 5 minutes. So you can wait till 4.5 minutes, do your 20-minute bid, $20 additional bid, and have the clock go, which is really helpful if you're bidding for someone overseas and they're asleep, which has happened a few times for me. So it's, I think, to me, I like the Classic auctions approach the best, especially with the change they made to the single lots, half hour at a time, and, with the big increment. And just open it up. That's, what do people think? What do you guys like in auctions?
The extended bidding is only designed to help the seller or the auction house. I mean, at the end of the day, it really is just a way for them to push more money. 10% just allows them to make people be invested in the bid. And I do love the fact that they do close the lots if there's no bidding. I think that's fantastic. The eBay method is tough. Like you said, like you can get sniped. I think we've all been sniped before. The NHL auction thing does tend to take forever. I mean, that's really, really annoying. I know. I rarely have to get involved in that because of who I collect and what I collect. But the NHL auctions, like when they do have Winter Classic or something special, I know a couple years ago when I dealt with that when the Blues were in the Winter Classic, I was actually at a Blues game bidding, and it just like ruined the game, and the bidding was terrible. So yeah, that was no fun. But yeah, I think I think Classic does a really good job with the way they do it, and they, like you said, it that 10% thing, especially on higher end stuff, really forces your commitment. So you have to say, like, yeah, if it's something over a certain threshold, that next bid is a real commitment there.
There's it rarely seems like with Classic, people say, "Oh, I didn't expect to win that."
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason that's one of the reasons why I struggle with some of these, like the NHL auctions. It's just like you'll throw out safety bids and you just won't. I don't know. I like the having to have the 10% investment, or you're not. You're really going to get the people who are after it, because there are some individuals who I've coined the term, though I don't do it, spite bid. Bid to sort of drive up prices for whatever reason. And I think Classic,
there's nothing worse. Yeah, there's nothing worse than when you hear of somebody who says, like, and I've had it happen where people are like, oh yeah, I bid on like 10 of those. Not because they expect to win 10 of them, but because they wanted to like somehow be involved in the game. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, you're planning on winning one or none, and all you really did was like hurt everybody in the game by bidding them up. Don't do that. Like, whoever you are, don't do that.
That is where a staggered closing can help.
Yeah.
Rather than closing all the lots at once, like I think I can't remember who does, but it does that, if NHL auctions does or not. But if you stagger the closing of each jersey by 10 minutes or something, even then with extended bidding, you don't need to be in on the 10 jerseys to make sure you get the one you want. Because a lot of people want to make sure they win something.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's hard to balance on that, and I've been guilty of that. I've won extra jerseys just because they close at the same time, and I want to make sure I've won something in that. And hopefully it's either something I want to make sure I have the extras, or have a friend who was, missed out and wanted it. So.
Well, but then on those ones where I've like thrown out multiple bids this summer, like I won 2. I didn't even realize I'd put the first one in. So, auction houses need to help us not harm ourselves as well, right?
Yes.
But the Classic approach is pretty reasonable. Every now and again, I am surprised, and it's not auction related, but Doc, you ended up with a Buffalo Reimer that went pretty low.
At the starting price.
Yeah, so every now and again, you're just like, no one's bidding on that, and it just either people get busy, or so you got to factor that in. I mean, it's not necessarily an end of auction thing, but sometimes you'll be surprised when things just don't get the attention.
And especially when there was 3 of those, and one of them had 2 bids, the other one finished with just the one. But again, they also had the previous year jerseys running at the same time, closing at the same time. So I'm wondering if that. And again, my particular one was issued. All of them were for that player because he was the 3rd goalie. But yeah, you're right. A lot of strange things happen in auctions. It's like you said, people miss it. I will say I'm a little pissed. Going back to NHL auctions, I had bids in on some specialty photos that were closing just as we were doing the show. I went to go check them. I'm like, why don't I see them anywhere? And it says I lost them. I never got a notification I was outbid.
Yeah.
And I know and I don't know how long it's been broke, but it's been at least 6 months. The NHL auction SMS piece has been broken. Every time you go to the page, it pops up to tell you. But the email, I'm going to double check my email. The email one seems broken too.
Really?
So I'm going to double check, but I swear I did not get any outbid notifications because I was outbid at the end of the auction.
Yeah, that's always tough, and and that's where I know teams go back and forth on the price and everything. I mean, of paying someone like Dash or to put one on online. There's always that hesitance, but you do see like prices tend to be pretty solid when they're online. Although I don't know, Paul's experiences last night, all it takes is just a couple of people live face to face to drive something through the roof, and that I just do not have the stomach for. Like, I cringe. I get so nervous in face to face auctions because it's just too Like I just don't want to go host, and I don't do well in auctions in general, but face to face ones live in fear.
Yeah, wow. I mean, the one thing with face-to-face auctions or any auction in general, when you're bidding that, especially when the bidding gets high, it better be something you want,
Yeah.
and care about for your collection. Because with a lot of the specialty jerseys, I don't think, when you're paying that for the AHL teddy bear toss jerseys or something, you'll never recover your money on what you
Yeah.
paid for them. I mean, there's even though they were only available to bid, purchase, you had to be there, so limited audience for them. They still went for more than they're worth, and it's I know a lot of people try to recover that when they go to sell them, and they just sit. It's unless it's a player someone else specifically collects or looking for that style, you're going to be, you're going to lose money on it if that's what you care about. So, and that on those type of auctions, always make sure it's something you want. And
I've noticed, at least on Dash, it seems like I qualitatively it seems like there are more teams on Dash doing bin buy nows or letting it go to auction. At least on Dash, I don't know. I mean, you're not obviously going to see that with any of the big Jersey auction houses like Classic, but I do actually could see the point in that. If there's like you said, Paul, there's that one, a family member or someone who collects a certain player's jersey, and I'm looking at some of the ones I've done that way. It just I don't mind biting the bullet on a high buy it now price to get it out of an auction because it takes the guesswork out of it. So I'm glad to see that as a. I don't know if it necessarily helps with price and sniping, but it does kind of it takes some of the challenge there. Is if something's coming up, dump $1,000 and buy it right away and take it out of the auction.
so I mean, I've seen that on Dash, but I'm not 100% sure how it works. You have a buy it now price, and then you have an auction going. When does the buy it now price go away? Typically in Dash.
I don't know. I think I could be wrong, but I don't know. I actually would have to look at it. I don't have it on my phone, but because I know there's at least one other auction house where they've done it, and once you start bidding on it, the buy it now. Actually, Penn State's for one of their lesser jersey auctions, they had that 2 years ago, where once you start bidding on it, the buy it now price goes out the window. You can't do it anymore.
Similar to what eBay does too. Once if you've got both options, once you bid, that's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works on Dash. I'd have to look. But and then you've also seen, at least on Dash, I've also seen I bid on a Providence last month, and it was like a $500 minimum bid, which is something like surprisingly a very high minimum bid to start. So, I mean, there are those types of approaches of sort of just setting a super high minimum bid or doing those buy it now things to sort of take it out of the challenges associated with end of auction bids. But I'm not sure that's the right approach either, because there's going to be people who, if you miss the bin or if you're not like on Dash right at that moment, it kind of sucks because you lose the opportunity to bid on something. So I don't think there's a definitive way to go about it, which is one of the reasons why I try not to get entangled into auctions.
And a lot of times you miss the auction announcement. It's you don't even know what's going on until it's closed. It's especially with all these minor league teams now using Dash and stuff. Can anyone here explain the closing process at Dash to me with their overtime bidding? Does anyone understand it?
And if you know out there somewhere else, please feel free to message one or all of us or put a comment on the video or Facebook or whatever to help share some of that.
Yeah. Let's look. I'll hop on there while we're sitting here.
Yeah, I know you get supposedly one bid in the extended bidding time, and the people who are eligible for it, I'm not sure which ones they are, but it's kind of like just one last chance to snipe. it seems like to me. Unless I'm missing something. Um, I don't bid on too many Dash auctions, even though the Barracuda did use it for payment yesterday for the
Really?
live auction. Then they put them up on Dash, and that's how you paid them through your Dash account.
Huh.
Yeah. So it
Is
adds
that just more to
3% to
save
everyone's.
time and make things easy and smooth so people didn't have to go in front of somebody, say, here's my debit card or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it did add 3%, but it didn't add sales tax. That was already included in it. So I think if it would have added the California 9 point something percent sales tax, people would have been a little bit pissed off.
You know what? And let me mention something, side note to that, and Wade, step in with this as well, is on the Give Smart. If you go win something and you go to pay, it gives you the option if you want to cover that 3% or not.
It does.
You can actually check. I want them to eat the fees and not me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you can do that for sure. And the one thing about GiveSmart is, and the thing I've discovered was that different teams and different entities actually can change the way their auctions close. So I know that it's an adjustable feature on there, and I think it might be the same way with Dash, because I've heard a couple people say that there's different ways that the closing process works for different things. So. I don't think there's a single-handed, here I always say if you win and you've figured out how to make it win, it's the right way. If you've had trouble with one or something hasn't gone your way, it's always the wrong one. And the funny part about that is the complainers sometimes are the same people that are the braggers when they get one to go their way. And then they're the same ones that make posts or make comments about how much they hate it when it doesn't go their way. So you really can't play both sides of the field.
An auction's an auction. If you be the high bidder, if you're outbid, it's because you
win it or don't win it.
As max in there.
So Wade did remind me of something. When you do use one of these things like GiveSmart or Dash, and you're running your auction on it, if you have a different timer, please have them in sync.
Yeah.
Like the 1 year when you said the Colorado auction, which closed a day early, because they had the wrong countdown timer on the app, but not on their webpage. So we all thought we had another day. We didn't. So
a lot of people got great deals on jerseys.
Yeah, yes, they did, and they are, which I thought was real.
I don't know about you guys, but I definitely have timers. I have weekly timers set, and then I have timers that I can turn on for certain close times for different things when I know that it's pretty pathetic. It really is.
No, it's not, because I even message you on the Fridays when the Blues are actually this week. They were doing a couple extra last couple weeks with Christmas doing drops just on their regular page at 10 a.m. And we were both watching. Hey, it's coming up. What do you think they're going to drop? So no, don't feel bad about that at all. That's just part of the hobby. But you know what? It makes it fun and exciting.
Yeah, I was busy as all get up on Friday too at work. And it was actually funny because I have like a different alarm set up for the auction ones. And I was like doing something, and all of a sudden at my workspace, I heard my phone going off with like my bidding alarm, and I was like, oh shit, like I gotta find 3 minutes here to like break away from work and like take care of this and be there to check, because otherwise you're like, oh no, like or you'll hear it going off and it's been going off for a while, and you're like, oh man, I'm an idiot.
To tell you how bad this is, and everybody knows Wade and I did a show Thursday night. Justin and Paul were off doing other things, which was fine. 5 o'clock Friday morning, I wake up violently ill, got touched of something. I mean, some of the worst being sick I have in a long time. Get some sleep, go back to bed, woke up about 10 to 10, just happened to. I can't hardly turn my head because I'm so dizzy, but I am still refreshing the Rinkside pages. We're hitting 10 o'clock, and then had to search to see what they did. Luckily, it wasn't anything I needed, and was fine. I was able to just drop my phone and collapse back onto bed. But yeah, I mean the dedication and like I said, I haven't been that violently ill in a long time, but I was still able to summon enough strength to get on the page to see what they were dropping.
Hobby call.
Yeah.
The last Penn State auction, unfortunately, in January, ended right in the middle of a graduate class that I was teaching. And I just remember I walked into class, it was like an hour before the auction ended, and I double checked the bid. I was like, I hope I get this. And so, I don't know of other professors in the hobby, but I do a good job of, when I'm at work. But this one night I was just like, an hour to go, and I think I timed an in-class exercise right, and not because I was going to be bidding, but because I wanted to know if I was getting this, because at this point it's getting into, for me, uh expensive territory. And so like I timed it with 5 minutes before the auction, and I was like, all right, I think we're going to take a break. And it wasn't anything, and I just had it on my phone. And
Nothing wrong with that.
the only thing I may have let on, I was like, all right, class can have some extra time on the homework tonight, because I won, and I would have and I not been successful. But you just you find ways, like weights, you just gotta keep a side eye on some of these things, at least it doesn't hurt or anything.
That's funny. That's funny.
So Penn State is still actively doing auctions.
So yeah, they had gone with, is it Sidearm Sports?
Okay, yes, yeah.
But I think they are no longer on that platform. And a couple of they had, they had a face-to-face blue and white sale earlier this summer, and they purged a lot of their stuff there. I don't know what they're doing for the Wrigley. Is it the series or a game?
A game, one game.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Wrigley game. I'm pretty sure they've gone away from Sidearm. So I don't know what they're doing. Over the course of the summer, they put just 2 or 3 jerseys up on eBay and didn't publicize it. So I suspect, and they've actually have introduced a new alt this year. So I would suspect that Penn State will come and have an announcement probably in the next few weeks. But I don't know, because what are the other programs in that Big Ten event doing?
I can speculate on Michigan. And the reason why Michigan has not sold anything since COVID.
Yeah.
And if you go to their website, they have something on there for auction status. Due to the ever-changing nature and landscape surrounding college athletics, NIL, and our own internal university and athletic department policies, the University of Michigan Athletic Department and ice hockey program will no longer have a public hockey equipment garage sale or jersey auction.
Yeah, and that, I do wonder if I have to be careful, since well, Doc and I also have to be careful as well, since we're both gainfully employed by universities and not representing either one of them. But I want to
be correct.
Because I don't know what schools are doing. I know the NIL landscape is obviously forcing a lot of things to do differently. I will say, earlier this summer, I purchased 2 jerseys directly from a player, and I wouldn't be surprised if players who no longer have their eligibility, I wouldn't be surprised if they start doing it themselves. But I do think schools are awkward about this, and I think there's a lot of sorting out as it relates to a lot of different things. So I am curious what the landscape looks like, but I haven't heard anything about Penn State's Wrigley jerseys. So all I know is it's probably gonna wherever or whenever it is, it's gonna destroy my budget for the year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful that there'd be a way Michigan makes them available, but I don't think that's going to happen.
My thing is this, Paul, and I'm not an expert at all in the name, image, likeness stuff, but wouldn't stripping the name bar be enough? Because then you're not earning. I mean, yeah, the number's still there, and you can go look at photos, but it's not truly. You're not selling John Smith's Michigan jersey anymore. It's now number 25, and it's not tied to that person anymore. If you won't even give him the name bar as a student and go, here you go, great. But and again, I'm not a lawyer nor an expert in all half of the stuff with NIL other than what I've read, but that's what they used to do just because like the seniors and that I know always complained about, well, you're selling my jersey. Okay, no name anymore. Now it's just another jersey.
I suspect it's probably with the collectives, the NIL collectives that are probably trying to determine a lot of these, because you see, I mean, as of this summer, like Penn State had their collective, and they were selling. Or was it maybe last summer? I got a T-shirt of a player with the player's name on it. So it, like schools are figuring this out. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where some of these things are. They're trying to work with athletes to probably do this. I'm actually surprised that some of these schools aren't a little bit better prepared for this, because this is now a couple of years into NIL. So I don't know what will end up happening. I mean, every summer you see these amazing sales for programs. I mean, Penn State had theirs this year. Seemingly, so many other schools do. I don't see them going away. But the question is I don't think it's just about stripping nameplates. I think it's about working with the individual athletes. I could be wrong. That's just pure guess on my.
Yeah. My understanding is it should be easier to leave the nameplates on now.
It should be.
Yeah, because then you could feed the money to the students. But to Michigan, it sounds like it's a damn cop out. Oh, we just don't want to mess with it. So just nope. We'll throw them in a closet, or somebody will backdoor them and they'll show up at some point and we go, where the hell did these come from? I mean, again, not going to accuse anybody in Michigan of possibly doing it in the future, but that sounds like a cop out BS statement.
That's the thing. Honestly, I hate to say it. I mean, like most of these schools have zero idea what to do with this stuff.
Well, that's my point.
And even schools that you think should, Michigan, Penn State, whatever. I mean, the spectrum of their knowledge of the hobby, or their people in the athletic department really giving kind of a shit about this, is pretty far reserved. I know that at my college alma mater, I've asked about stuff, and it's like the one of the big problems is the chain of command to figure out how they could get the stuff to you and who wants it and who's going to get mad if it goes out the wrong way, or a way that somebody else thinks it could go a different way. Because the bureaucracy of, I mean, you guys both work at schools and I used to work at a university. And Paul, you worked at a school. The bureaucracy of a higher education school is incredibly, and I can say you guys can't because you guys still do it. It's total shit. I mean, like, there's people on the academic side, there's people on the athletic side, there's people on every side that want to have a say in it, and that's where the becomes legal the problem side. A lot of times.
Well, my employer is awesome. I have such a great relationship with my employer. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, as far as for me, in the sense that, like, I had asked a university that I had an affiliation with about, hey, I know you guys have bins and boxes and stuff full of jerseys and stuff. I'm in this world. Let me do something with them. Can I buy them? Can I sell them for you? Can I, like, whatever? And the answer is usually like, well, like, we'd have to talk to this person, and then that person says they have to talk to this person, and then, like, somewhere along the lines, it's like nobody talks to somebody. My best guess is that you are going to see schools in some ways try to figure it out as it relates to certain athletes who want to do whatever. And, because one thing, in spite of all the bureaucracy, schools do figure it out, and they eventually come to figure out. I mean, the inroads made with NIL and these collectives and like schools have done a lot of work in the last 18, 24 months. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do figure out ways around it. But Wade, the question of like backdooring some of this stuff, or, I mean, that still needs to be worked out. They need
to put them in the bookstore. That's my answer.
Well, that means I'm making some trips out to State College.
No, I mean, but honestly, I mean, that's what, like, if what they should do is, and this was my suggestion in my case, was, here, let me take them, I'll inventory them, and then let's sell them at games. You put up a stand at the games, and you can sell previous season stuff. or hey, let me get the stuff and I'll distribute it through groups and make a page and do it through a business LLC, or there are options, but the problem is again, if you're the equipment guy at the University of whatever, chances are, I mean, you're not doing that. I mean,
well, and a very small but devoted part of the hobby goes after college club team jerseys too. I mean,
sure.
you've seen like Alabama, some of these like club hockey teams look better than like some minor league hockey teams. I mean, these are all driven by students, and like the media for some of these club hockey programs are really phenomenal.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if more clubs recognize that there's ways of maybe going.
It's not club anymore, but I saw some Arizona State jerseys the other day that were banging, awesome jerseys. Like, holy cow! I mean, they had it figured out.
And the club teams are awesome as well. So, yeah, there's untapped revenue. I wouldn't say for schools, but for club teams, and they'll figure it out.
Sure. It makes a lot more sense for club teams because they don't have the budget that
No, not at all.
I mean, when you look at what some of the players are getting paid, like in football, Brace Underwood is expected to get 10 to 15 million, and quarterback coming into Michigan for next year.
Oh, but still, I mean, hearing that kind of money at that level.
Yeah, right. and we have donors, giving the money to it. It's $300 for a jersey. Just it doesn't impact the budget at all for that. But for a club team, it's huge. I mean, it's a big expenditure, and they're not getting that sort of funding from the school or alumni or donors. It matters.
Yeah, actually, Doc, need to get some of the college collectors just to come talk about club hockey, because some of those jerseys are really difficult to track down, impossible at some points.
And
we have an event that they can come to in St. Louis for the Frozen Four this year.
Right.
And college hockey collectors, let's do this. Let's get in there, show off your stuff. Let's discuss it. Let's figure it out.
Wow.
And even, I mean, you mentioned it too. I bought a couple of them, 4 or 5 years ago. University of Illinois, I work for the system, but our campus doesn't have hockey, but the main campus does. And the coach was selling them on behalf of the team. Found them through Twitter. They shared it out there, and I bought a few and ended up picking up a helmet and a pair of gloves. He moved on, and I've reached out since then because they've done some new cool designs. And since I work for the university, wouldn't mind having a few even throw up my office. And silence. I don't even get a reply back. And like you said, it's just club.
And I do notice this particularly with though I have stopped collecting them, pucks. Like there are some puck collectors out there who will track down like club teams, and some of the club the OGB the original game pucks are like far superior to even some of the varsity sports. So like it's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, and you're right. I think down the road, and maybe as the season wraps up, is get a bunch of the college collectors that have been trying to reach out to their teams, maybe even or in contact with people. And again, if you are a college collector trying to talk to teams and are hearing things, reach out to me. And I do not disclose who stuff came from or any of that kind of stuff. I was in true radio media and doing interviews and hidden sources and that. I will not share it even in this light either. But if there's stuff like that you want to feed out there, and I can even give you an email address, you can send it from an anonymous email, so I can't even trace who it originally came from if you want. So I'd love to hear what other college collectors and that are hearing, but it's a whole new hockey game, ball game, whatever you want to say. But it's, I think it is a little interesting though. And again, maybe it's staff changes or other that Michigan's, what their stance is on that right now.
Yeah.
Because I guess, are there other teams that have a portal like that, like Michigan's page, that have similar things posted? Do we know?
I don't know.
I have not noticed any. I haven't done a huge amount of looking. I've done a little bit. I mean, we still have teams like North Dakota, one of the best college hockey programs.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them. Yeah, they do auctions a couple times a year, older stuff. But
I will say, as much as I have, I really I work for the other big university in the fine state of North Dakota, and
You guys have enough people to have two?
well, we got two Dakotas. I mean, it's
I mean,
I have to give credit to UND for how they have been easing whatever backlog of stuff they have. Their auctions they're a little bit on the pricier side to start, but I don't hear of a lot of angst in the ranks about UND jerseys unless it's like a super high end player, and then the price of that jersey goes through the roof.
yeah, and they're also making available a lot of football jerseys from their program, and then stuff from like dance team and stuff, like full sets of outfits.
Yeah,
which
it's cool they do that. There's so many people that want that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
so here's a question with that, since you guys both have bought and dealt with some of that, and Justin, you said UND's is putting out older stuff. Okay, are they then waiting for those students to then be out of the university before they move it? And does that maybe negate anything current? Is okay, they're gone, they've moved on to either playing pro or they went nowhere. Now we can sell it, nobody's going to give a damn. Do they do it that way?
Yeah, I can't recall a current player on UND's roster they've had. Well, it's a good thing I don't collect UND though, so I don't have to sweat it.
I tend to, if I remember it correctly, it is all players who have left and are no longer there. I don't recall seeing a current player there, but
and maybe that's how they get around it. Again, I know, just understand bits and pieces of what I've read, and it seems so convoluted on everything. So yeah. And if there's other people that have become experts in this or whatever, please reach out. I'd love to have you on and just discuss it even.
Well, and it's going to get even more convoluted with the changes at the eligibility level now with Canadian juniors being. Do I have that right? That your players are going to be able to play in the States now?
Yes, you do not lose your NCAA eligibility by playing the CHL, which.
And that's again, that's a discussion that is like fundamental to the entire structure of ice hockey in this country, which it'll be interesting to see the downstream effects.
That's going to change a lot of stuff. I mean, I know being still connected in with some guys that I played with that coach and that are involved in, like, the transfer portal is just incredibly convoluted for a lot of these guys. I mean, the thing that's changed is, like, if you're a high school student and you're trying to get a scholarship now, you're not only competing with your graduating class, you're competing with 10,000 other kids that have jumped back into the portal.
And then you're going to be competing against kids who played Canadian.
Yeah, and for hockey, that's going to be the thing. You're going to be not only, if you're a kid from whatever who is a pretty good player, at the high school level or whatever, now you're competing with a 22 or 21-year-old kid who has got 3 years of juniors in him. I mean, that's going to change the complexion of college hockey substantially.
Well,
and you can pay them. I mean,
and we haven't, but I live in a very successful. Our USHL team won the cup this year. We're not talking, and I mean, this extends beyond the jersey collecting hobby, but I do think the landscape of junior hockey in the States
is different.
It's going to really, really shift. I have no inside knowledge about what's going on with our local team, but there's going to be a fairly substantial shift, I think, with the two American junior leagues here in the States, the USHL and the North American League. And so what that means for jersey collecting, I think they're just trying to figure out how these leagues are going to be structured in the immediate future, let alone how memorabilia is sold.
Yeah. Sports are a lot in flux right now.
Like so many other things.
Right.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, this will not be the last of this discussion by far. And if there are, like I said, experts that have studied this more or have some kind of inside info that you're being fed from teams, again, we will sanitize it in that. So it is not traced back to you or back to the school or any of that stuff, but we'd love to get some of this stuff out here. So please feel free to reach out. Um, great topics and great stuff to talk about. Kind of go round robin, see if you got anything to final things out. Wade, start with you.
No, I mean, great discussion tonight. It was really interesting. I think it's kind of, tonight we kind of came in with not a ton of discussion ideas, and we put together a pretty long show, so that's great.
Right.
Sorry if I threw you academias under the bus at all with my comments. But no, it's great to have Justin back. I wanted to say that. I know you've got a lot going on, and
Nice to be back.
yeah, no, it's cool, and we all have a good little group here and a lot of friendship and family and camaraderie, and glad you're doing well. And Paul, as always, is a staple of our fun, and it's just great to have you back. And I hope I know I'm not the only one who has every week asks about you, Paul, and Jason, and all of us. So glad you're back.
Yeah, and it's nice to be back. Rest of the hobby that does not have the privilege of being in a group chat with the four of us. I learned so much about the three of you, and I learned so much about the hobby. So, and especially because all three of you have your own. We all have our own niches, and it's really interesting to kind of get the perspective.
Yeah, it's fun to have. Like like our hobby. I think the coolest part, and people may not see it, is there's four really diverse people in this group. Just this page, just this, and I think that's really just a kind of a cornerstone of what our hobby is, because it is a lot of diverse people with a lot of diverse backgrounds who find a passion in something they enjoy, and I'm fortunate to be part of the community.
Likewise, and it's a holiday, so we should all be in a cheery mood.
Yeah.
And that's what alcohol is for, also. No.
This episode brought to you by.
Oh, what do you got to wrap things up?
Not too much. It's great having Justin back. It's been much, much too long. So this has been wonderful getting you back on here. And in addition, just looking forward to seeing a lot of people on February 1st in San Jose, and then in April for the Frozen Four. So Monica and I are super excited about that trip, and it's I'm thrilled with all the people coming to town on February 1st here. I know both shows. Going to be a great time, and it will be here before we know it.
Yeah, we're almost halfway through December, and it's all flying by. So yeah, these events will come up quick. So if you're even thinking about it, either book a hotel, look at flights, get some of that stuff lined up now, because travel prices change, all that stuff. So get on top of it. And the final word we'll give to Justin, because we've not seen him forever.
I got nothing. I'm talking enough.
And we're done.
Well, I am going to be hopefully seeing Paul and Monica for Sharks game here. Going to try to not spend too much money on more teal. We can end it with Mitch, I guess. Got to get more teal into the collection. All of our collections. Well, not Paul, because you've got too much of it. But I'm trying to get more teal into my life. So that's my New Year's resolution, is to get more Sharks jerseys.
Oh,
don't tell Pat
aboard.
Everybody on this podcast has at least one, so that's something. I have one. I think you have a couple now, don't you?
Yeah. We're dancing to the teal.
Yeah, I've got the one, and may only be the only one I ever have, but we all at least have one of the four of us on this podcast now. So
good.
Well, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure as always. We may, like I said, depending on scheduling some other things, we may have some extra podcasts throughout this month with all kinds of fun things and all that. So still record one this Thursday. So we'll drop this. You'll be listening to it on Monday, to a surprise of a lot of people. So hope you enjoy. Reach out, like, subscribe if you want to come on. If you want us to cover stuff, we're here, and always enjoying it. Until next time, we'll see you later, and enjoy the hobby.